Okay, Bretcetera and Collections back, bitches. Um, I'm your host, Kevin. Um, Here with another podcast on my ever expanding channel network of podcasts. I'm actually here with my older sister, Denyse. Say hi, Denyse. Uh,
Hi.
who I call you Deese, right?
Right. Right.
And
It's been a long time though since you called me that.
really, I feel like
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like I do it unconsciously. Like we might just be hanging out and I'm like, hey, can you do this or
Yeah,
something?
maybe.
Yeah,
But I feel like it's been a long time than I since
right.
I heard it, I guess. Because usually you probably don't call
I
my
f
name when you talk to
Yeah,
me, you
just
just
in
talk to me.
general. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'll say it would be weird. And if you
Yeah,
talk about me, you definitely don't use it. You'll say Denyse.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I'll only use it with you, but then when I'm with you, I don't need to use it
Right.
really. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And how did that develop? I just couldn't pronounce Denise, or it just
Um, I think so. I don't know. I mean, it was I guess a pretty organic creation
it
um
just
for you for you at a young age.
it just
I don't
rolled
know.
off the tongue
Yeah,
better
it
I
wasn't
guess.
like, oh, I'm gonna call you Deese.
Right,
I
yeah.
think you just legitimately could not say my name. Oh,
There you go.
so that was what you came up with.
Well, see, that's what's cool about your name is that I've met a few Denises out there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of Denises at my work, believe it or not. Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
There
Denise
was
is
a
it's
Denise at my work.
yeah,
Every place I've worked at, there's been another Denise besides me,
wow, that's
which
funny.
is
It's
I
like
think is weird
yeah, it's
because I
like I
think
didn't
it's
think it was that common. You know,
yeah, I'll be honest, I don't think it's that common at all, because I mean with work I have run into Denise's, but in my world I have not. Like
right? It
in
just so
my,
happens that you work with all these
like friends
Denises,
or whatever, it's not like there's another Denise. Not like a
right?
Jennifer. There's a million Jennifers.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And but
Yeah.
what's cool about your name? Well, I guess Denise. It's kind of a common Mexican name, believe it or not. For
Oh,
like,
I did not know that.
but yeah, it's kind of a modern Mexican woman name, kind of. I guess the past 30 years, I guess 25 years. Because I work with two chicks named Denise, and one of those chicks is my coworker, my direct coworker's sister. So I tell her, oh, that's something we have in common. We both have sisters named Denise. But what's funny is that at least your name is original because you have the Y. Like a
Right,
lot of
right.
people don't spell it with the Y, so that's
Yeah,
what's cool about that. Because the other
yeah.
one Denise, she spells it Nise, and then the other Denise spells it Nisse or something like that. So
Yeah.
like,
I've seen some weird spellings of Denise for sure. But I definitely have never seen anyone spell it the way I spell it
yeah,
or the way mom spelled it. Let's put
right.
it that way.
There you go.
Because
Yeah. So
I didn't come up with that.
at least
Yeah,
there's originality there in that
yeah.
sense. So we're here to talk about kind of our era that we came of age. I'm a bit younger than
Yeah.
you, but I think we have a fondness for the '90s. You know,
Yeah. I think so. I think it's definitely was a turning point. I would have 95 is when I graduated high school, so it's definitely my coming of age decade.
right,
Where I experienced a lot.
right.
So,
And even though I'm a bit younger than you, I felt like I kind of tagged along with you on a lot of stuff. I remember us ditching school a lot back in the
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I was like in fifth grade, fifth and sixth grade,
Hmm.
and you were graduating that year, I think, too, and then you had already graduated.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with to be honest. I don't know um because I'm the total opposite with my daughter.
Right,
Um my I think my thinking during that time and probably with you was just like, you know, there's more to learn outside of the classroom, you know?
right.
Like we'll learn
The
more,
school of life.
Yeah. hanging out together as opposed to you just being in the classroom. Or it could have been I was 19, I was an idiot.
It was a little
And
bit of
I
both.
was, yeah. And it's like, hey, everybody else is at school. They don't want to ditch, and you're my little brother, and so why don't I just force you to? I don't know.
There you
You know
go.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
need someone to hang out with. Let's just go do something.
Right. And it was like a good little transitional period because, well, for the record, our parents are divorced. So at that time, I mean, at least I was staying with mom mainly at that time. I mean, I guess you were too, but then they had to move. Mom and the two younger twins sisters that we have, they had to move from that house we were staying in
Yeah.
uh, on Jan Drive.
Yeah.
Um, they had to move, so they were staying with one of mom's friends or whatever. Like
Right,
they,
right, right. Auntie Larry.
yeah, yeah. And then it was kind of like okay, and then she was like, okay, well, you can stay with your dad, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
So it was like okay, so we went to the little room that he had built. So
Hmm.
like he had the extension built in our grandma's house. And it was like the de facto crash pad. Like whoever needed a place to stay, someone would
Yeah.
stay there.
Yeah.
So at that time it was us two, and we had like the two beds, you
Yeah.
know, on either side of the room. No divider or anything. It was
Yeah.
just sharing the room. And so it was a nice little transitional period where it was like, mom was with the girls and she had to work too. So, and I guess the girls
I
were in
didn't
like in
really think so.
preschool or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then dad was like doing his own thing. I don't really know what he
Yeah.
was doing. So like we didn't have really eyes on us during that
No.
time.
No.
Yeah.
And during
So
that time, I guess technically I was like more your guardian.
I
In
guess
the
kind
sense.
of, yeah. And you could drive, you had your car.
Yeah. I had
I
a
was
new
in,
car. I could drive.
yeah,
Um,
I
yeah.
was in fifth grade.
Yeah, you probably remember a lot more than I did,
Yeah, I
for
guess I do.
sure. Because I mean, I remember stuff, but I don't remember like the specifics. Like I do remember certain things, but I couldn't remember
Yeah.
like the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I have a pretty good memory, so I guess it's good that I'm
well,
here.
I have a good memory too, so
Okay. Well,
but maybe
maybe
you're
me just being closer to it, I guess, in
yeah,
age,
I think so. Probably closer to age, yeah, I
Yeah.
think.
So, yeah, I remember. I think it was one day where, because you were supposed to take me to school,
Yeah.
and you were kind of like, "Hey, do you just not want to go to school today or
Yeah.
whatever?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, sure. I don't have to go to
Yeah.
school."
I remember
Um,
before I think I used to make you hide too. Because I didn't take you to school and I
uh-huh.
make you hide in the car so that way grandma
I
nobody would
see.
see. Do you remember that? I feel like I made you
That
do
I
that
don't
like
even
once.
really remember, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, like because I was like, "Oh, you're in the back seat. You need to hide." Because
Yeah.
that way they wouldn't nobody would see that. Then if they saw you in my car, they'd be like, "Well, why isn't he at school?" And I was like, "Oh, so I have to stop by, the house or whatever, get something." And so
Yeah.
I was like, "You just stay here, hide, or
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
for a little bit." Um,
Yeah. I kind
right?
of
Do you
vaguely
kind of
remember that.
remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Like I would be like kind of crouched in the front
Yes,
seat,
or
or the
something. Yeah,
back seat.
yeah,
Yeah. And I remember just like looking at your tapes that you had in there,
yeah, yeah.
and
Because I guess what else would you do?
yeah, exactly.
You're
And I
hiding.
wanted to play. I remember one time I wanted to play that Sting tape that you had because I know that Nas sampled it for one of his
Mhm.
songs, and I was like, oh, I want to hear where he sampled it from, and I stuck it in, and then the tape got stuck. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Okay, well, I don't remember that,
Okay, but that happened.
but I remember it was like,
Hmm.
was it something, "The Piece of My Heart"?
Yeah,
There
the
was
one
one song
for
that I really liked.
the song that he did for that Leon, the professional. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but there was that song came from something else. It was like Three of Hearts or something like that, and that's where I had first heard it. And I
Okay.
love that song. I think um, it had the blonde. It was like two women and a guy, and it was
A
like
threesome.
something like no, it wasn't threesome. No, because that's
Okay.
two guys and a woman. That was
Okay.
the one
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Laura Flynn Lloyd. Well, anyway,
yeah.
so I think it had Sherilyn Fenn in it. Sherilyn Fenn,
Oh,
and then
okay.
a blonde. The blonde, she was in like Susie Q. She was the actress that was in Susie Q. Do you remember that with I think James Belushi was in Susie Q, wasn't he?
I don't remember that. So that was a movie or
Yeah, Susie Q was it was like about the little girl with curly hair and
Curly
they were like
Sue? Curly
Curly Sue.
like Susie
Susie
Q.
Q. Susie Q was a singer, I
Oh
think,
yeah, she
back in
did
the 90s.
Two of
That's
Hearts.
I'm getting confused. Yeah.
Oh no, no,
So
you're thinking that was Stacy
Curly
Q.
Sue. Yeah,
Stacy
Curly.
Q did Two of Hearts.
Yeah, Stacy. Well, anyways,
Okay,
back
Curly Sue.
the thing that's yeah, Curly Sue. But the thing that I love is that we're talking about the 90s, where apparently I don't know remember anything about the 90s. I don't
Yeah, that
remember
is
anything
ironic.
about the 90s. So, but at
Well,
least it's all about my perception, right? Our
yeah,
perception of what we experienced in the
yeah,
90s.
yeah, exactly. But
Yes,
hmm,
Curly Sue, the blonde actress in that. I don't know if you
okay,
would remember, but well, anyways, so needless to say, there was a movie, and I remember that song, and I love that song.
okay,
It was "Shape of My Heart," "Shape of My Heart"
yeah,
by Sting.
right. Well, I think
And
that's
I
the
remember
track
that
that
song.
Nas that the covered
I
for
would
Nas.
assume, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I think
I
it
mean, I would
was.
assume.
Oh, Three of Hearts. Yeah. Okay, so it had one of the Baldwins, William Baldwin.
Okay, that's
Okay,
yes, the guy and
and
Sherilyn Fenn, right?
yes, and so Kelly Lynch is the blonde.
It's Kelly Lynch, yeah,
Yeah,
the blonde. And
of
so I think that
Roadhouse fame.
yeah, he was in love with the dark-haired girl, and the light blonde maybe was in love with him,
Okay, I
or
haven't
it
seen
was
it.
in love with her. It was something like that. It was something along those lines. So
Okay,
it was just like, like obviously, a kind of like just complicated love story.
right. Well, it seems very 90s. I gotta watch this because I mean, it's
Yeah,
like there was a lot of
yeah,
like three-way relationships in movies at that
yeah,
time. So this threesome, that
yeah,
movie with like two girls and a guy or whatever, like that was later. But that
yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. movie,
I,
with like Heather
yeah.
Graham. Yeah,
Oh, I don't remember that one.
yeah. I think that was like 98 or 99. But yeah, so I mean that was fun when we would ditch school, and I remember we would kind of have a routine. We'd be like, okay, okay. So first we'll go to Taco Bell. So we would go to Taco
Yeah, it was,
Bell.
God, I know. I really love Taco Bell that this days.
Yeah, we would go to Taco Bell, get soft tacos
Yeah,
mainly. That's mainly what we would get. We'd hang out there for a bit, and then, but also hang out with you, and hearing like 91X and stuff like that.
yeah.
That's where I could really absorb music, from
The thing that
hearing.
you have to think about now is why did no adults ever say anything to us?
Oh, I
Seeing like a
know.
teenager and
Yeah.
a kid just walking around like randomly
Yeah,
when
in
you
the
really think
middle of
about
the
it, I
day,
guess,
you know.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
Because
yeah,
I mean,
so
I was pretty, I mean, obviously, I mean, I'm 19, but still I was young.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And but maybe people are just like, whatever. I don't know.
Yes. I mean, I feel
Well,
like
it's the
nowadays
90s,
no
I
one would
guess.
say crap. You know what I'm saying?
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, so I guess I don't know. I felt like then I would always hear like, "Oh, you're gonna get thrown in jail if cops catch you not going
Right,
to
something
school."
like that. Yeah,
Like I've
something
never
weird.
heard that. You know,
Yeah,
I never heard that actually happening. Anyways,
yeah,
yeah, hit up the Taco Bell, and then
yeah.
we would hit up the mall, Plaza Bonita,
We
usually.
did. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
look around there for a couple hours.
Mhm.
Did we ever go to the movies during that time, or like during
I
the
don't
day, or no?
remember
Okay,
to be honest. I felt like did we go to Navy Exchange? I feel
yeah,
like I
yeah,
went to
we would
Navy
go there a
Exchange a
lot.
lot.
Yeah,
I
so
we went to Navy Exchange.
yeah, so Navy Exchange is this. It's basically a department store on the Navy
Right.
base. If you
On the
don't
Navy
know
base,
what
yeah.
that is,
Because
and
back then
what's
I still had my like
military ID.
the military ID, so I could go there all the time.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because they don't let anyone in who doesn't have that. So and it's tight. If you've never been, I love that place. I
Yeah,
wish I
maybe
could
I
go.
should.
They don't
Yeah,
charge tax, so
yeah,
that's what's tight about it. Um, you get discounts on like Disneyland tickets and stuff.
yeah.
You
I
know,
go with dad.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll go
We're
with dad.
lucky
Like,
we
I'll
have
have
that
some.
resource.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
we're pretty lucky.
so so I was saying, uh, yeah, I guess,
Yeah. Let's do that. I think that I think for you and I, we definitely were closer. Um, maybe because I had to take care of you. Um,
yeah,
so then that gave me the opportunity. Okay, well, let's go check this out and stuff like that. Because everybody was in school, but we got to not go to, we didn't go to school. We decided to go do some other things.
right,
Um, like I said, as a mom, I'm the total opposite of that. Um, like
right.
I really um, tell Skylar that she cannot miss a day of school. She cannot miss a day of school. Yeah, or she's dead. Like if she, if she, even if it's like if you're sick, you still have to go to school, and you have to go to the nurse, and the nurse has to call me and prove to me that you're sick. They have to want you not at school for you not to be at school. Is
Wow.
generally my feeling on it. I think that maybe my viewpoint of it now is like um I think I'm an intelligent person. I think that I'm pretty results driven. I think that I can be definitely super motivated to do great things. So sometimes I feel if someone had cared more about what I was doing during that time, um who knows, I could have been a doctor. But here I
Yeah,
am. Do you know what I mean? If you felt, does that make sense?
yeah. I feel that way too. Like if we had more encouragement, we could have accomplished more.
Right. Or just more, yeah, or just more eyes on us in that sense,
Right. Yeah.
you know, um, not to say that I don't like where I'm at or the person that I am or the experiences that I had. I think that all of that, made me the person that I am, and
Hmm.
I like me as a person. Um,
Right.
just even those times of not going to school. It didn't harm me in any, like I still graduated high school. Obviously it there were some rough spots there, but I graduated high school. Um, I want to say I chose not to walk, and I chose to, do a different path when I got my degree, my diploma, but um, and I still got to experience what I experienced. And I, um, didn't go down like a really bad road where it was like, I was just like, this wandering kid or run away or
Yeah.
something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was, within like, some parameters, it was still safe. You've grown up to be a contributing adult in society. So you missing school like every now and then and experiencing like stuff outside of school didn't hurt you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Of course. No, not at all. If anything, like I cherish that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
looking back, like I really love that time period,
Yeah.
and I look back fondly on it.
Yeah.
And so like I was saying, like I learned a lot about music and bands, from you
Yeah.
at that time. Obviously, we were watching MTV all the time anyway. That's just what kids did at that
Right.
time, watching Beavis and Butthead and, watching music videos and watching Yo MTV raps and stuff like that. But mainly when I rode with you is when I would hear a lot of rock because, like, me
Yeah.
and the other kids around that time, we were all into hip hop. Like, when our cousin Junior, like I remember when he first brought like the tape of the Chronic, and it was like a
Yeah.
big commotion. Like all the kids were all into it,
Yeah.
So we're like all about hip hop. But then obviously we saw Nirvana come out with Teen Spirit, and then that
Yeah.
was like a whole thing. All of a sudden, all the white boys at school were all listening to that, and
Yeah,
everyone,
I had definitely like I was into during that time, like I had really I was into grunge, but I had really liked No Doubt. No Doubt was a big influence for me, but I also had, a lot of that background of that um early 90s or late 80s um like rock, I guess, or heavy metal, because it wasn't really really heavy metal.
yeah,
Um
like hair
Not like
metal.
Megadeth or something like that, but it was like, it was like the Def Leppard, and because I was a big Def Leppard fan, and what else? All that stuff that was really in, um, that made like the top 20 MTV countdown like every week.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
Like, you really didn't discriminate genre even at that time. Because I remember
no,
seeing your old tapes. You had Def Leppard, and I was like, "What the hell is this crap?" And I was a little kid, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
just looking at it, then I was like, "What is this crap?" Def Leppard, and then you had Guns N' Roses, like the Appetite for
yeah,
Destruction, and it was like, "Okay, I know
loved
who
Guns
these
N'
guys are,"
Roses.
because
Yeah, I
I've seen
loved
their videos.
Guns N' Roses. Yeah.
And then you had like New Kids on the Block tapes, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Like this.
I think that was I had that, and I bet some of that might have been Earl too, because I feel like
Wow.
that wasn't always like
He liked
me.
the R&B of the New Kids.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I feel
Maybe
that,
you're probably right. Yeah,
yeah,
that's so Earl, our older brother. That's like his cheesy side, um,
yeah,
where he.
yeah. I want to say so.
No wonder he always knows how to do that on karaoke or whatever.
He does that in karaoke. I didn't know
Or he
that.
says it on. It's like one of the clues that he gives, like on one of these things, one of the games of the board game, catchphrase or whatever or something. Like he always mentions that song or something like that. He always
Really?
mentions some of their songs, like "Hang Tough." Like,
Oh my
uh,
goodness, I did not
yeah,
know that.
yeah, he
Oh,
does. He does. So,
I
anyways, yeah.
definitely didn't pay attention to it. Yeah,
I mean, I guess I'm really into music, and Aileen's really into music, and I think that's something, at least me, like where I got like my diversity of music from was
hmm,
partially from you. Like I remember it was like your 15th or 16th birthday. I guess it was like your sweet 16,
yeah.
And do you remember receiving that 5 CD disc changer that you got for your birthday?
I do remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
to
and so I
because I had
remember
a
that.
stereo system.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Dad still has that. I think the one that he has is that one.
I really
Yeah, I
no,
think
I
so.
don't know. I don't know. I think we got it at the Good Guys, and I think the. Are you talking about this whole stereo system, or you're thinking
Yeah,
the just the no? Or maybe I don't know. I felt like I got rid of it after I moved out of my apartment
I
in
think
La
you gave it to
Mesa.
him or something.
Oh, I might have.
Because I mean, Dad still has that. It's still in his room.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So yeah,
I
it was
want to say
kind of like a
mom bought it
family
for me.
heirloom. Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She did. So I
Yeah, mom
remember.
bought it for me
I
for like
that's
one of my birthdays or for something. She's like, okay,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was
that's
like your
what I wanted.
16th birthday. It was like
Yeah,
your sweet 16 or something like that. And
yeah,
I remember you got these CDs. You got Prince, Diamonds and Pearls. You
yeah,
got
yeah.
you
I
got
remember that a lot.
Color Me Bad, that Color Me Bad album, their only good
Yeah,
album.
yes,
And you got like En Vogue, Funky Divas or something. You got like
yeah,
4 CDs. I don't remember what the other one was, but I
yeah,
remember you got all those for then. And I was like a little kid, and I was like, oh, lucky. Like I was like so jealous that you got this big thing.
yeah. That's funny.
And it's funny that I
I
remember those
love
things.
that Diamonds and Pearls. I love
Yeah,
that
yeah,
CD.
I love that song.
I'm a huge Prince fan.
Yeah, exactly. He was
I
the
love
shit.
that that CD.
Yeah, it's a really great album from him, and so yeah, that's why I still love that album a lot. I
Yeah.
have the CD around here somewhere.
Mm.
Um, so like yeah, hanging out with you, and then I remember when we would go on our little ditch trips. Like
Mhm.
another place we'd always hit up, either at the mall or like the one on Plaza Boulevard. We would go to the warehouse a lot.
Yeah.
So we would go to the warehouse, and you're like, "Oh, I like the song. I like this. Like, let me buy this." Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's where
So where that Wings and Things is,
yeah,
or whatever.
that Epic
That
Wings and Things.
yeah,
That used to be the warehouse. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
that was a warehouse. So
A long time ago.
Yeah.
There used to be a Chinese buffet in that same plaza too a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that was even before the warehouse time.
Maybe.
But
But no, I mean, I feel like I don't know. I'm sure there's a
I
lot of
remember
stuff
that
that's been
that
there.
CVS used to be a bowling alley, but that might have been before your time
Damn.
too.
No, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Plaza Bowl? Was that what it was called or
Yeah, it was
whatever?
plausible.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it
Yeah,
was.
and you could see like the neon on the
Yeah,
outside or whatever. Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I remember we would go to warehouse a lot, and you'd be like, "Oh, I like the song. I want to
yeah,
buy this tape or whatever," and then you'd buy just the single, and you would listen to it,
yeah.
and
Over
you
and
know,
over again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you buying "Sex and Candy." I remember you buying the tape of that.
Right.
Yeah,
The, yeah,
yeah,
the whole,
yeah. I remember you buying that, and I was like, "Wow!" And then now looking back, that's like a classic. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
the classic one-hit wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
But
But yeah,
it was a good
there's tons of
song. It was
time.
a great
No, it's a
song.
great song. I love that song.
Yeah,
Disco Lemonade. Okay,
yeah.
how to make it and how can we get it? Yeah, yeah. But like little stupid things like that. So I feel
Yeah,
like that informed a lot of my music taste. And we plan on doing Bretcetera music, like where we specifically talk about music. But and either of you guys can be guests on that as well. Um, yeah, sure. But yeah, so we would be ditching. We'd hit up the mall, Taco Bell, Navy
yeah.
Exchange, warehouse.
Did
um,
we ever just like hang out at the park? I'm trying to think some of the stuff that I would have done
uh,
back then.
maybe like
Because
I
there had
got
to be,
bored and we go on the swings or something.
because
Um,
there had to be times where I did that I must have done something. Because if when you weren't with me, what the hell was I doing? You know what I
yeah, I
mean?
mean, you
On
were
days I
working
did.
though, right? I mean, you already
I
started
worked in
working.
the evening.
Oh, okay. You only worked in the evening, right?
Yeah, I want to say so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what was your job at that time?
I worked at a warehouse.
Not the warehouse,
Not
but
the
a
warehouse
warehouse.
where with the music, but a warehouse, yeah. And I did like some shrink wrap. It was like shrink wrapping, assembly work, that type of stuff. It was an El Cajon. I worked there. I think I got the job when I was 17. Although well, or maybe it was 16. I don't remember. I knew I could drive. I drove to work. Um, and I got my license when I was 16. But I don't know if I probably had been looking for a job as soon as I turned 16 years old, though. But I don't know if I got hired right away. But I did look for a job as soon as I turned 16.
Yeah, I feel like I remember you working pretty young. Like,
Yeah.
like it was like she's working already. It's like,
Yeah.
but I was like, okay,
Because
I guess
I
that's what
want to
people
say
do.
Earl's 2 years older than he never had worked. He
Yeah,
never
he
worked.
never had a job. He just went to
He
the
never
Navy.
had a job, honestly. He No, so Earl went to the Navy, um, and then he came out of
Went
the
to
Navy and went
school.
to school, and then he became a nurse.
Yeah, yeah,
But, you know, honestly, he had never worked. He
right.
had never had
Yeah,
an
nine to
an
five, whatever.
actual, yeah, like an well, yeah, like I don't want to say, yeah, yeah. That's I didn't say it, but yes,
Right.
he did
Yeah.
not. Like he
Right.
wasn't like a teenager or doing stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I guess maybe that's a guy thing, or at least in our family, I guess.
Um, I guess so. I guess I never really thought about it.
Well, I mean, I worked, but it was like way later,
Yeah,
like
like
because that's
after high school.
yeah, because that's the thing, and at least at that time, I guess in the '90s or early 2000s, like that's the thing. Almost all my friends in high school were working, and I was like, I feel like one of the few losers who wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and it's like, why is that cool? Why is it cool to work? But it's like, you get to have some freedom. You make your own money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You do.
um, but it was like, I had to. watch our little sisters anyways, kind of, you know what I'm saying? So it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I really
I,
couldn't,
that's true. That's
you know.
true.
So it was like not really an option, you know. But I remember all my friends, they worked at like the casinos and stuff like that. They were like,
Really?
yeah, they were like golf caddies or stupid crap like that, or like
At
valet dudes.
16 or 17 or
Yeah,
18 or
yeah.
yeah. Well, that's pretty young.
I
Yeah,
guess
you'd think
not. I
that.
mean, I
Yeah.
guess I don't know. They're like nepo casino babies. I guess I don't know.
Like their parents had worked there and stuff like that. Oh,
Yeah, like their parents kind of hooked them up with it. I guess
yeah,
you know.
I did not know that. Actually,
Yeah,
I would have loved to work at a casino.
like you
I would
still
have
would,
been,
or
well,
you
I
would
just
have.
mean
Yeah,
I would have, if I was like still in high school, you know what I mean? And working and I needed a part-time job, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, actually,
yeah,
um, yeah, because I just worked at a warehouse and I worked there for a little bit and then for a few years and then I got laid off um because I did some downsizing and then I worked after that. I think that's when I started at the La Mesa Spring Valley School District, I want to say.
yeah. I think so.
Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah. I look back at fondness on our days of ditching. I guess that's probably why I love Ferris Bueller so much,
yeah,
because it reminds me somewhat of that. Except we
yeah.
didn't have as nice a car, you
No,
know.
no, but we did have
But
fun.
yeah,
Did have fun.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And you know, I guess you can you're Gen X, right? You're like
I
later
am a
Gen
Gen
X.
Xer, yeah.
Are you proud of that? Um,
I am proud of it.
well,
Um,
that's cool.
I'm very proud of it. Even at my work now, I want to say there's millennials, there's Gen Zers, um, but I am very proud of being a Gen Xer. And so, like, and in talking with, like, you know, if there's a meeting or something and it's brought up or something like that, I'll say like, yeah, I'm a Gen Xer. So because I think that,
There's a
um,
stigma now or
yeah,
whatever.
there's a stigma with Gen Xers. There's very much like there's a difference in the personality and there's a difference in the work ethic and there's difference in what the experience is, right?
Right,
Um, I don't know how to say it. Like, let's say a Gen Xer, like they can do a bunch of drugs and still be able to perform and go to work, right?
right.
That's what you did. So kids these days do a bunch of drugs and they can't do anything. Do you get
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
they can't even do drugs again.
When a Gen Zer can't, do a bunch of they just do a bunch of drugs and then they just sleep all day
They
or
crap
like
out.
do
Yeah,
video games. Yeah, it's like they don't have that like we're a Gen Xer, like that was how you lived. That was
right.
what you did. That was you experienced something and you just kept going with it. I guess you you
You fought through it, right? Like you
yeah. Well, or just like what
persevered.
like my husband likes to say, you worked hard and you played hard,
Right.
but at least you were able to do both. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Actually, with my husband, I think he's surprised he's still alive, but with
Well,
his work hard, play hard ethic,
right.
to be honest.
He plays very
Um,
hard.
yeah,
Uh,
and he works hard too, but he
yeah.
definitely played very hard,
Yes.
played harder,
I
probably.
believe
I'd
that.
say. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's around. He's doing great.
yeah,
He's doing great.
he's a good guy. Hi,
Yeah.
Greg. Um, yeah, and so I mean, I asked about the whole Gen X thing because yeah, you should be proud. That was a great generation. You guys produced a
Right.
lot of great people. Cobain,
Yeah.
Gallagher brothers, Tarantino.
Yeah.
And Chris, who I work with, and he's been on our podcast, our movie podcast and sports
Hmm.
podcast. He's Gen X too. He was born '69, which is a pretty cool year. But it's funny because we're all born in like cool years. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He was born '69. Hippie
I
era.
I I get it. Yeah.
You're,
I
I
was
mean, you're
born
born
77.
77, which is a cool
Yeah.
year. I mean, they even did a documentary on that. They
Um,
did 19. It was like New York 1977, coolest year in hell. If you can watch that on YouTube or wherever, try to find it. It's a pretty cool documentary
is
because it was
it?
just
Yeah.
about how New York, like, I mean, yeah, how New York was like producing, disco and like punk at the same
Yeah.
time. Then like hip hop was like,
Yeah, like starting to
burgeoning.
emerge and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and then like all the crazy like the blackout that happened there.
Yeah.
It's a really cool documentary. So 77 was a cool year. I'm from 84, which I'm
Right.
very proud of that year.
Yeah.
The George Orwell year.
What
No, you're
year were
cool this
you?
year. Yours.
What year? Yeah.
No, but there was good albums that year. So to me, I look at
Yeah.
it like it was a good year at the very least if they did a VH1 behind the music on your year. So they did
On
one
your
on 87.
87. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they did one on all our years. They did one, so to me, if you got a VH1 behind the music, like from the
Yeah.
original series, and because they would do years often,
Yeah.
then you had a cool year. So I would say that we all had cool years.
Yeah.
So 77, that's kind of late Gen X, because I guess,
It is. It is the later Gen X. Yeah. I think it goes up to um maybe what, 79? Yeah.
and then kicks off
Yeah.
millennials,
Yeah.
which, yeah, so,
You're part of the millennials. Yeah.
yeah, I'm part of the millennials and alienists too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're proud of our generation too, right? Um,
You are? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, I want to say, yeah, I think it's more, maybe I just had never, I think about it like in reflection of like just school years. When you think
mm,
about it that way, it's like, okay, like the kids that were older than me, like 2 years older, they seem pretty cool. They seem super far away, especially when you're like, let's say you're in
yeah,
ninth grade, they're juniors, you know what I mean? These cool kids or whatever. And then you think about the kids that are the year younger than you, and they always sucked. Do you
yeah,
get what I mean?
yeah,
It's just like, man, you guys suck. So of course, that's gonna bring up the Gen Xers and then the millennials. Just like a bunch of yuppie millennials. You know what I mean? But then we can all agree that the Gen Zers, they really suck.
yeah, yeah, yes,
And Gen Zers are probably the worst of the worst.
yeah.
They're
We
the
can
real
agree on that.
entitles, but of course the Gen Zers are going to be like, okay, Gen Alpha really sucks, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think it's just a relative thing, but what I do feel about like um Gen Xers, and again, we didn't, not, no, I don't want to say like we did obviously didn't fight Vietnam, you know what I mean, or anything like
Yeah,
that, or World War II. Like we didn't have those big things, but um, you did experience just, yeah, a lot of um just changes and coming of age and like, yeah, the burgeoning of different kind of like music. Um and just, the things that happen like that, lifestyle changes and all of that. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
think,
I guess you know we have the same sort of thing. It's just a little bit different. As far as like the actual like milestones or I'm
yeah,
saying like I don't know if in the 80s or 90s if you guys had like a 9/11 type of moment. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like 9/11 happened at the beginning of my senior year,
yeah,
and it's like an event I'll always remember. Like it'll always be
right,
stuck in my head, and I can recite the whole thing to you. I remember like the whole morning of
yeah,
that. And I mean, I guess that's what's cool about the Gen X era, is that there wasn't really an event like that. Like like
yeah,
you didn't have to worry about that in a way.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean
I think
the
it's just more the developing of just like America, like as a society, in the sense that like during like our eras, people were, you know, AIDS came into the the forefront and like different like people, they were in the closet, right?
Yeah.
And then there are people that were, doing a lot of drugs. Heroin came into the forefront. Um, besides like cocaine, um, was really considered just a party drug. People didn't think that it was, that bad. Then, it ends up being like, you start seeing everybody turn into like the Wolf of Wall Street, right? They're all,
Yeah. Snorting.
going nuts. Yeah, like just all the time. And it's like crazy. And then, yeah, and just like, crack and whatever, all those different things that were like coming up and that was all during the 80s and the 90s, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's like it's funny because like the ditching, we only did it really for maybe like a year or two, and then it
Mm,
kind of like faded away. The ditching, like I guess I started middle school, and then yeah, I think yeah, sixth grade we were still. I think we still ditched a few
yeah,
times.
yeah, I think
Um,
so.
but it like after that, maybe seventh, eighth, and then high school, that went
No.
away.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember in high school you went to school like every day. I don't
yeah,
think that you missed a day of school, right? You're one of those.
yeah, I hardly ever did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, unless you were actually probably legitimately sick, but you probably still went to school anyways.
Yeah, yeah, no, I hardly did. Well, because you were doing your own thing by that point. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You were working more full time.
Yeah, at that point now.
Yeah, like, and then yeah, it was just like me living with mom and the girls, and that was kind
Yeah.
of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would go to school, hang out with my friends until someone could pick me up, and then
Yeah.
go back home, and that was kind of it. So yeah, I mean, anything else from that time that you remember fondly, or uh,
Um, no, I mean, I I feel like you and I were always close,
right?
but maybe but that probably was the time that maybe really signified that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Was
like it
during
was maybe the time we were the closest, right?
yeah, because even though Earl was around, don't remember him being
Well,
around.
and also I think by that point he went to the Navy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, like so he wasn't part of that. Like,
yeah.
well, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, I guess he went off to the Navy. I guess it was like 94 or something,
I
93 or
mean,
94.
I graduated high school 95. Yeah. I mean, maybe I don't remember. He's 2 years older than me. So he might have gone in just right after high school then.
Yeah, so like he went to boot camp, and then he did like Westpac or whatever. Like he
Yeah.
was deployed. So it was like kind of time spent without him, and at first I was pretty sad. I was like, oh well, like Earl's not around. I was kind of sad about
Yeah.
that he was gone. But then after a while, like I kind of got used to it.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And it's like, oh, he's back, and then like now that he's back, I was like, damn it, like why isn't he gone?
Yeah. Oh, like when he was at the house all the time
Yeah, yeah,
and you're
exactly.
like, don't you have somewhere to go?
Yeah. Well,
Work or something?
yeah. No, but what's funny is that like, so that was like a special time when it was like me and you in that room,
Yeah.
and then like I said, like that room was just like a crash station, so
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
you like I guess you moved back with mom after that, and then Earl came back from the Navy, and he was like, okay, this is his room now.
Yeah.
So that kind of became his room, and then I would only be there on the weekends, because I
Yeah.
went back with mom too.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I would be there on the weekends and hanging out with the neighborhood kids and stuff. And but then Earl and his friend had this ingenious plan to become DJs,
Yes.
and they
Yeah. Him and Caesar.
yeah,
I
so
remember
they
that.
started their own DJ business, C&E
Hmm.
Productions. And I think
Yeah.
I had an old card. I found like an old
Yeah.
card of that.
Did you?
Yeah. I have
Wow.
it around here somewhere. I was like, wow. Like with
Yeah.
the old English,
Yeah.
print on it. Yeah, and and that was another stage for me musically, at least,
Yeah.
because so that's the thing. When before Earl went to the Navy, sometimes he would pick me up,
Hmm.
and he would have like a lot of hip hop, so I would hear a lot of random hip hop tapes that he would buy. And he had pretty good taste, believe it or not. He had a
Why
lot of kind of.
why would why would we not believe it? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I mean, now I feel like he doesn't care about music anymore. You know what I'm saying? At that
Yeah,
time, he did.
yeah, he's
You
pretty
know?
consumed with what he has going on now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at that time, I could tell music was a big thing for him, and
He was.
so he would get hip hop tapes. He would see it on Yo MTV Raps, and then he would buy it at the warehouse, and he would play it like when he picked me
Hmm.
up from school or something. And then I
Yeah.
would listen, and I'd be like, "Oh, this song's cool." I remember him having, passing me by the far side.
Hmm. Yeah. That's a good song though
That's a
anyway.
great song. A brand Nubian. I remember him having,
Yeah.
and then I remember him when he came back from the Navy, at least from boot camp. Then I remember him playing Big, and I was like, oh
Hmm.
wow, this is cool, like, and I was just kind of getting into that. So then when he came back from the Navy, it was kind of like, and started the whole DJ thing.
Hmm.
It was like when it was like sixth grade had just ended for me, so it was like the summer after sixth grade,
Hmm.
and it was like I was like we were like me and Junior and some of the other kids. We were like hanging out with Earl a lot, and we were like with him DJing and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's where I would like absorb a lot of music, and he let me
Yeah.
play with the turntables a little bit, and yeah, so that like was when I really got sucked into hip hop. Like, so that's when I got really into hip hop. Like I liked music before, but that's when I like really got in.
Hmm.
And like when I get into things, like I really get into things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
It
like,
really consumes you.
yeah, exactly. So like that's why I never really took drugs, because I know that if I took them, I'd probably like be hooked on them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I get so into things when I get into them. So like yeah, I was like really into hip hop, and I just like I would stay up all night. Like they on Jam and Z90, they used to have this thing called Hip Hop Show, and I used to record tapes of it till like 2 a.m. or whatever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that's where I really got music from him. But then it was like me and you. I don't think we hung out as much, but I remember we saw a few movies that were great.
Hmm.
So me, you, and Junior, we saw Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls, in the
Yeah.
theater,
Yeah.
which is one of the fucking hilarious
Yeah.
moments of my life. We were just dying that whole movie. It was
Yeah.
so funny.
How old was Junior when we went?
Well, he's like a couple years older than me. So if I was 11 at that time, he was like 13 or something.
Okay. Yeah. And
Yeah. And
what brought us to go do that? Was I just like, oh, let's go do something?
yeah, and I think we're fans of the original. So it was like,
Yeah. So
okay,
we're like,
well, and
oh,
we're like really
yeah.
big Jim Carrey fans at that time.
Yeah. And
We even
we
saw
went,
freaking Cable Guy, and that was horrible.
yeah, we went to the one that,
Yeah.
yeah, we went to the theater that used to where Texas Roadhouse is, right? Remember there was
No,
that little Pacific Six theater there?
no, yeah, I remember that. That's actually where I saw Rush Hour 2 with Dad when that came out. No, but actually, we saw Ace Ventura. I think we actually saw that in Lemon Grove. Like they had a theater there. Remember, like that Lemon Grove Bowl. You know how you would show the chick like bowling on that thing or whatever, like when you
No, I
would
don't
drive by.
remember.
Because they had like an AMC or it was a Pacific, but I think we saw that in Lemon Grove randomly.
Oh, like where
Um,
that Target is there?
yeah, yeah, like where that
On
Target
the
is there.
20,
Yeah, like where the Target and Walmart is or whatever. Yeah. So that was in
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That I mean, they probably had all that crap there, but I think I remember we randomly. I think that's like the only time we ever went there. Um,
To that
like
theater.
yeah, like I don't remember because it wasn't a theater that we would ever usually go to, but I think
Right.
just randomly, I think we called like movie phone.
Yeah.
Um,
We'd always call movie phone.
so by the way, for those of you who don't know what movie phone is, what was movie phone, Denyse?
You would call and the audio recording would go the movie phone and it would say um say the difference like releases, new releases, and to if you want to see Ace Ventura, pick number 2, and you would pick it, and then it would tell you the different theaters it was playing at and the different
Yeah.
show times.
Yeah.
Yeah. The different
There you
theaters,
go.
you'd have to pick like, which theater and then you select it and then it would tell you the show times. The movie phone actually was pretty genius.
Yeah, it was, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy when you think of back at that,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like the fact that that actually existed and it was like very convenient at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It
like
was. More
you would call.
importantly, I wanted to tell you that a friend of mine, like I was, well, because I had been a bartender actually for that's been my longest job. I was a bartender for close to 18 years at a popular bar, but I had a regular that would come in, and we were talking about movies one time, and I was like, "Oh, why don't you just get a newspaper?" And he goes, "What?" He goes, "A newspaper?" He goes, do they even put down like the movie theaters on it? And I was like, yeah, they do. He was like, who still gets a goddamn newspaper? But you like razzed me for like an hour when I was like, oh, I you just get a newspaper, try to see what movies are out. He was like,
Right.
who gets a newspaper anymore? And I was like,
See,
oh
that's like
well,
something Dad would do. He'd like, oh,
yeah,
let me check the
yeah,
newspaper, find out the
yeah.
movie times or something.
And you're like, no, Dad, they got rid of newspapers. Yeah,
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 exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, you would call. So the number for that was 444 film movie phone, and then you'd answer. I mean, the like robot would talk and it'd be like, "Welcome
Yeah,
to
he's
movie
awesome.
phone.
Yeah, it gave
Um,
the different
if you know
and
the name
then
of the movie
the
you
new
want to
releases.
see, press
Yeah,
one." Yeah, and
yeah.
I was like, he
Uh-huh.
had that voice, and yeah, we would use that all the time. It was awesome.
We
And I
did.
remember
Yeah.
it's funny because I remember because like in 2000 or 2001, Earl wanted to see because they did a sequel to Vampire Hunter D. It was Vampire
Yeah.
Hunter D Bloodlust, and he was like, "Oh, check if it's playing anywhere." And I was like, "Really? I mean, that would be cool, but I don't think that's playing anywhere. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
some random anime movie. You know what I'm saying?" Like,
Yeah.
and so he's like, "Call," and I was like, "Okay." So I called, and
And you
you
tried to
know,
put the first three
yeah.
letters, right?
So
You
I
tried to
put
put the
like
first three letters.
VAM. Yeah, I put VAM for Vampire Hunter D,
Yeah.
and it was like oh, we cannot find a movie with that title. And then Earl was like, oh, try Bloodlust, like put BLO.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so I put BLO, and then it was like, congratulations. I was like, oh, they have it. He's like, you've selected Legally Blonde. So I was like, great, okay, no, that's not what we want to see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was movie fun. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah. So we saw Ace Ventura 2 there, which
Hmm.
I plan on doing on Brighterian movies because
I
this
wonder
is
if
a
Junior would even remember that we had watched
he has a pretty
that.
good memory too. Um,
Well, that's
yeah. I mean,
surprising.
when I've talked to him, but I mean, I'll bring it up next time
Yeah.
I see if he remembers that. I mean,
See
I
if he
could be
really
wrong,
does.
but I thought we saw it at Lemon Grove because I mean, I think
Yeah.
that was the only place playing
Because
it at a particular
I thought
time.
maybe like Grossmont Center. Because
Yeah,
we
but
used
I
to
feel
watch a
like
lot of movies there.
we did, but I feel like we wouldn't have taken Junior there because it would have been too
Yeah,
far.
because it
You
would
know
have
what I'm
been,
saying?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Lemon Grove is kind of far, but it was like for
Yeah.
whatever reason, I guess we were in the area or something. We're like, oh, let's
There
watch
there was
this here.
there was a time that you, me, and Junior hung out a lot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we did.
We
Uh,
hung out a lot.
yeah, no, do you remember? He
No,
still remembers this actually. Remember how we were like playing a lot of board games at one point,
yeah, yeah.
and I think
And
we
we
bought
play
a
a lot with
Ouija
Dad.
board. Yeah, do you remember we bought a Ouija board?
And maybe.
So we bought a Ouija board, and he still remembers this because we talked about it, like not that long ago, like one of the
Yeah,
last times I saw him. And so we were trying the Ouija board. It was in the dark, and I
yeah,
was scared because I was a kid, and I was like scared of
yeah,
everything, But like,
yeah,
we are trying to play with it, and the thing wasn't moving at all. We put
yeah.
our hands on it, and the damn thing wasn't moving. We're like, oh, this is crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess we thought that, I thought that it would at least move because of like our nerves would like shake it, but it
Right.
wasn't even doing that. You
That's
know what I'm
how
saying?
I thought we were moving it.
Yeah, but it wasn't even doing that. It was just still. It was just
Yeah.
like nothing. We were just sitting in the dark, just with our hands on it. It was like, okay, this sucks. Like, okay, let's turn the lights back on. And what was funny, so like we turned the lights back on, and then Junior stepped back. He like leaned back, and then so the thing is, he like there was a ironing board right there.
Yeah.
And like when he didn't realize he like kind of leaned on the iron, and then so the iron like came like straight down. It was like gonna hit his head or whatever, but he like moved at the last second or whatever. Like, but it was like going down, like the sharp point was
Oh
like
my
going
God.
like
Oh my
down to his
God.
head. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Oh
he
my
like
God.
barely moved at the last second. And he's like, "Oh crap, it's real. This Ouija thing is real." you know, like,
And then we
like,
threw it away, right?
or you returned it, I guess.
I
I
felt
think,
like we did something. Yeah. I thought
or
we
maybe you
threw it.
threw it
We
away.
got
I
rid of
don't
it.
know,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah, I
like,
think
oh
you
my God.
said you were
It's like,
gonna try to return it or something.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that was funny. We were playing a lot of board games.
Yeah,
I
we were.
remember we went to a haunted house. Do you remember
We
that?
used to go to haunted houses. We went to the haunted hotel. I
Uh,
remember we went to the haunted hotel. We went to the haunted house. I don't know what it was in the Mission Valley Mall.
yeah,
I felt
yeah,
too.
that was a hunt. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, we went
You
to
don't
that one for
remember the
sure.
haunted hotel, the 91X one?
No, I don't know if I went to that. I don't remember.
No, you had to because I wouldn't go with anybody else.
Oh,
I would
okay.
have gone. I would. It was during the time that we would have gone. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Because I feel like we're everywhere we go, we made Dad take us,
okay. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We'd make Dad take us, and he's like, okay, because we were. It was during
yeah.
like our maybe our
Right.
visit, like our visits with
Yeah,
him, because we did
yeah,
a lot of board games during that time. Yeah, Earl wasn't there, so I feel it was just like you, me, Dad. We played Scrabble, we did a lot of board games, and then we were like, okay, let's call Junior
yeah,
would come along.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember we went to that haunted one in Mission Valley. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was, but I remember we walked in, and I was like, me and Junior were like holding each other, like,
Yeah,
"Ugh," like
yeah, you
scared,
were.
like
You were.
walking through there.
Yeah, you guys were ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
guess I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, so I guess I was scared. And then I remember Dad was just like, "This is crap."
Yeah,
He
he
was just
was.
walking through like, "This is lame," and
Yeah, he
wasted
did.
$100 on this crap.
Yeah, because we would always make Dad take
Yeah,
us. Was I
yeah,
scared?
yeah. You kind of were, yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure
because
I
you're
was
like,
because
"Ugh."
I hate being like suddenly scared. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
know you
I
hate that.
hate that.
You don't like horror movies and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't. I'm not a big like I'm a jumpy person. Like I am a jumpy ass person for sure. So it's
Yeah,
like
so
you can be in front of my face and go boo and I'll scream. Like I'm like
yeah,
super jumpy. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm sure your daughter does that a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. She scares me constantly. She loves doing that.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's screaming now. She's in her room screaming.
yeah. I
She's
was
home
wondering
with
what
one
that
of her
was. I was
friends.
like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, it's Skylar.
Oh, okay.
They're playing. She's talking with one of her friends, and it's like they're playing something on. I think it's Roblox, and it's always I don't know something, but she
Right.
gets very animated with it.
Yeah, I could hear that. So that was our '90s experience. Trying to remember if anything else kind of happened during that time, but we could probably save that for another episode.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this is a good episode for us to kind of delve a little bit, a little bit on some of our coming of age memories.
Right. Yeah, and then we'll kind of get more specific on other things
Yeah.
on the other episodes. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like we kind of wanted to do a spin-off of your own show, kind of, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm exploring some topics, I think. Um, I would like to kind of do something where, yeah, it's kind of talking from the heart, talking, just about what's going on in my life, what I see out there, what my viewpoints are, trying to tap in what some other people's viewpoints might be, and maybe just collaborating and seeing what we come up with.
right. And I thought of a good title for this show, which is Denyse
What is
Complains It All.
it? Yeah, I have heard that, and it's great. It's great. It's good podcast name. Yeah.
Yeah. So Denyse Complains It All coming soon on Brighterian channel. um, well, thank you for joining us, Denyse. I appreciate talking with you.
Thank
And
you for having me. This is my first podcast guest experience. So thank you for that.
yeah, sure. Thanks for being open with the whole experience. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
See you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.